To delete a file, you can just use the command rm and just give a space and give the file name. For example, take a terminal and then give a command to create a file name and then just delete it. So for example, I'm going to my one of the works folder, and then when I give yes, there are some files there. I'm creating a file by giving out a command touch, touch and my file .txt. So if you want to put some content into that particular file, you may use a command echo space, and something you want to put into that file, you can give some content here, say hello, how are you, and then give two angular brackets. This refers to appending the content that you typed after echo into the my file.txt. So if you want to see the content of that file, you can use the command cat space myfile.txt. Then you see the content of the file. Cat is a shortcut or the short form of concatenation. So in fact, you are taking the content of myfile.txt into the console. So append is also known as concatenation. So append the content of the file into the console. Console is that the terminal that you see here. So in order to remove that file, you can use the command rm space then myfile.txt. So did you see the auto completion feature here? Say for example, I just type myfile and then press the tab, so it automatically completed the rest of the part of the file. So then rm myfile.txt, so that will delete the file. So for example, if I'm repeating the command myfile, say if you use up arrow, you can press up arrow to see all the past commands that you gave. So cat myfile.txt and then press enter, so you see no such file or directory exists. That means the particular file, my file that just created now, has been removed. So in the same way, you can rename a file. So mv, the shortcut for move, is used for renaming a particular file. For example, move, then give the file name, that is the existing file name in your system, and then give the new name for the file which you want to rename into. So for example, let's create another file, say touch first file.txt, and then I just want to give some content into that, so I can use again echo content to the first file, and then the first two arrow to append the content after the echo command into the first file.txt. So I need to give that, we need to give that first file.txt the file name. I just pressed tab after typing a few words in that particular few characters in that file name. Now I pressed it, so the content has been appended into the first file.txt. Then you can see the content cat first file.txt, so you see that. Now you want to move the file name first.txt into the second file.txt. So this command mv is the command, and then you give a space in front of the first file name and then give another space in front of the second file name and press enter. So you get the file renamed. Now when you use cat first file.txt again, there is no that such file exists. So I can repeat, I can press the up arrow to get the old command that just typed a few minutes before I ended. So cat first file.txt and then press enter, no such file there exists. But when you type cat second file.txt, I just gave a few letters in the file name, second file name, and press tab, so I got the auto completion of the rest of the part of the file name, and then use cat second file.txt to see the content of the file. So that means the name first file.txt has been renamed into second file.txt. Now consider you have a folder with some content inside it, and then you want to copy that everything into a destination folder. So to copy a folder with its content, you can use cp command. Copy is just copying a file or directory from one location to another. So copy command is very easy to use to copy content from one content from one directory to another directory, etc. So to see the use of cp, you may just use cp for copying from one file to another, so you get a duplicated copy. So cp is the command, and then I just use the second file.txt to get a copy of it into third file.txt. So you get two copies now. When you use the ls command, you can see there are two files now. One is the second file.txt and another one the third file.txt. So this is how we duplicate it, just a file duplication. And now consider you have a folder, make directory first folder, and you copy those, you move the second file.txt and third file.txt into the first folder. So both the files have been moved. So renamed, the command that we use for rename can be used for moving certain files into a destination. So here the second file.txt and third file.txt has been moved into the first folder. So these, and when you give the ls command, those files the second file.txt and third file.txt doesn't exist anymore in the current folder. So then you know that the first folder they just created have these two files. So for example, you can move that into that first folder, cd first folder, and then just press ls, so you can see the second file.txt and third file.txt exist in that folder. Now I just gave cd dot for going to the parent directory. So when I give ls, we can see the first folder exists here. Now you want to copy the entire content of the first folder into another folder, second folder. So for you can use that. You cannot just simply use cp. So simply first folder and second folder, you won't get the folder directly copied. So when you give that, so first folder is a directory that cannot be simply copied by giving cp command alone. So the way is that you can use cp minus capital R for recursive, and then P for any empty folder that you want to copy from there. In fact, there is no empty folder now, but just as a practice, we remember that P always can be added with the command line options. So cp minus P, then first folder and the second folder. Give the command, so the entire thing has been copied. So you have two folders now, the first folder and the second folder. So whatever you have inside the first folder, ls minus l d gives the ls minus l and then first folder. So you can get the listing of the content of the first folder. But if you want to see just the folder details only, then you can use minus ld first folder. So it doesn't show the content of that folder instead of the folder details itself. So anyway, so the same listing you can see by using ls minus l, then second folder. So you see the listing of the first folder and the second folder are same now. Right, when you move from one folder to another folder, the folder details that you want to remember from which folder that you came from, so that it will be a handy. So for example, you can use the command push d and then give a path. So the cd command will be parallelly executed, or that in fact executed, and in parallel to or in along with moving from one folder to another, the path of the previous folder where you were, your current previous current working directory, that will be pushed into a stack, and then at any time you can come back to the previous memorized locations using popd. So to memorize the current directory while moving to another, you can use pushd, and then you move to first folder, right? So see the path. So you are in the first folder, and you are in the works folder, and then you move to the first folder. Then again you are moving to another one, cd dot dot. So that is the parent directory, and there you have a second folder, and then you move to that. So parent working directory is second folder, and immediately after pushing, instead of cd, if you used pushd, you would have got the stack. So the best way is that you can use pushd dot dot slash second folder, so into the second folder. So the current directory itself, right? Current directory. So you second folder is in the parent directory. So dot dot slash second folder. So in fact, you were in the second folder itself. I just used the same command to demonstrate that we moved into the second folder. So you moved into the second folder first, and then again into second folder, then you moved into pushd, then dot dot front slash first folder. So you moved into second folder, and then again into second folder, and then finally into the first folder. So if you use popd, so you automatically will be taken to the second folder. You can just notice that one entry in the stack has been removed, and again a popd. So one more entry goes, again a popd, again one more entry goes, and then again a popd. The stack is empty. So your current working directory is workspace, works, etc. This is just to use for memorizing the traversal in the file system. So you are moving from one location to another. It's good to remember using push2, and then go back in the same order of stored or memorized locations. Another handy thing is that you can just use a command for simply moving from one location to another. So for example, you can use a cd command, and then there is an option of using tilde, which refers to the working folder, your home folder. So for example, as we already mentioned, when you just simply press cd enter, it will take you to the home folder. And if you want to move to some other locations in the home folder, you can use tilde. Tilde is refers to the home folder, that is the current folder, and then you have a workspace and a works folder there, right? So also you can use simply cd tilde. It's equivalent to simply giving cd only. So cd tilde you will take to the current your home folder, which is slash volumes data in my case, and then you can go to any folder inside the home folder. You can use tilde, and you mention the various folders inside it, so that you can just navigate from your current location to the home folder locations quickly, just giving the tilde instead of completely typing slash volumes slash data in my case, so that the navigation will be much more smoother. So that is last entry. So that's for now. We'll be posting more Unix and related commands shortly. Bye.